So there's a part of you that feels betrayed or let down. There's a part of you that believes the people in your life could have done more to lead you down the right path. They could have imparted some wisdom to you. They could have prepared you for certain experiences, and they could have just been there for you. All this leaves you feeling sour at the end of the day. You start to do mental mappings in your head. You start playing the mental minesweeper. If I didn't do this, everything would just be fine. If my parents and siblings only did this for me, if my family was only more open-minded, if only they were more emotionally intelligent, then and only then would I be normal. Then and only then would I be able to handle the world. So many of the seemingly meaningless interactions that we have as children echo back stronger and stronger as we age. I remember as a child I was told that my problems weren't as significant as they were contrasted with regards to my parents' problems and their childhood. Basically, if something at school was hard, it was nothing compared to my parents' schooling, as their studies were always more difficult. If I ever complained about certain hardships, my parents always mentioned their immigration story, stating that if they can overcome that level of stress, then I should be able to handle everything. Whenever I mentioned anything, my parents just trumped me with their own stories. They tried to inspire me to take life into my own hands, but it only drove me to do the opposite, ignoring my own feelings. As a result, I walked around with this blank face, my body hollow, like a bot, going to class, coming home, studying, rinse and repeat. I'd always wanted to help my friends whenever they had a tough time. Funnily enough, maybe it's because I knew what it was like to go without emotional support. I never realized this until years after the fact. When I was in university, my parents would always complain that I wouldn't call them every day, that I would respond to their messages not at all or not quickly enough. I'd simply found it a burden to talk. Every conversation would boil down to the same things. Are you getting any interviews for co-op? What are your grades like? How much are you studying? How much are you eating? And lastly, they would ask about me. Over this time period of quasi-ignoring my parents, anger and resentment built stronger and stronger within me. I was replaying memories in my head over and over again, thinking about what I'd say differently. I would, and still do, fantasize about the one day I'd confront them about how I truly feel. I would coherently gather all my woes and blast them onto them in a giant rant. I would conduct the perfect assembly of words that would make my parents finally change. They would finally start remedying their actions and plead for my forgiveness. Deep down, I knew that there was no way that could ever happen, so I just shoved down my anger and resentment as it grew and grew. Eventually, it got to a boiling point where it was too much to bear. I would often break down, sobbing and sobbing, wondering why. Truth being, I was repressing whatever I was feeling. I had never opened up to anyone. Least of all, I didn't even have myself. And I think that is the most elementary step towards having faith in other people, is that it has to begin with having faith in yourself. You have to understand that the expectations that you've laid out for your friends and your family have been unrealistic. And depending on who hears this, they will interpret that message entirely differently. a lot of people might come away from this video feeling very doomer-ish or doomer-adjacent. And what I want to say to that is, I'm not encouraging that you cut off all ties with your parents. I'm not encouraging that you self-isolate and work on yourself. Because Lord knows that everybody and their mother has heard the same exact advice. Work out, meditate, journal, reflect. And that's all good. But what you have to understand is, as you grow older, you must develop an internal source of motivation, an internal source of work ethic, an internal source of company. How can you have other people if you don't have yourself? And it takes you losing this sort of fantasy that you've built in your mind of other people. You must lose the fantasy that your parents are always going to be there for you. And I have to be very careful with my phrasing, because I don't hold or harbor any sort of resentment to my parents. The way that they grew up, the way that they were raised, unfortunately, it didn't really equip them for the kind of life that I would live. So how was it upon them to perfectly subside any qualms that I have within my day-to-day life? It's simply not realistic. I feel as any teenager that grows up and becomes a young adult, they have to realize that it's just you. All you really have is you. You make the conscious choice to ask for help. You make the conscious choice to do the habits that you do. You make the conscious choice to associate with whomever you want to associate. And so it takes the true breaking down of the structures that you held in your childhood as strong pillars. It takes all of that mental collapse to realize that you have been beside you all along, and you'd never known it. And so once you start stepping into yourself in that sort of manner, I think you'll slowly find and realize that you can be pretty comforting as well. Without that, I mean, what do you have really? When, you're so reliant on other people, you just kind of become a leaf in the wind. Life blows you one way, life blows you another way. But where is your anchor? And for the longest time, I was looking for my anchor. I would blame my parents because they couldn't, solve my issues. And a lot of the time, I just wanted someone to vent to. For the longest time, I just wanted someone to give me a hug. I was seeking that sort of empathic comfort. And I think a great thing that sort of anger and resentment made me realize is that I can find that from within. That doesn't necessarily have to be an external source. Once you realize that they are not these idealized castles in the sky that you once held, it can be a pretty devastating blow. But after you lose all of that, I think you'll find comfort in the person that you are. And so that's what it takes. I'm slowly starting to build it now. I don't think I have a, perfect version, but I think the realization and potentially the acceptance of that fact can lead you to peace of mind.